Okay, we keep talking about, or at least I keep talking about us getting into heavy shit, and
Yes.
we've got like 15 minutes left, or 20 minutes left, and I wanna get into it. So everyone watching, you've been warned. We're going to talk about some stuff. We're going to talk about some folks who are no longer with us, because it's been happening and we need to talk about it. It wouldn't be irresponsible not to, and it would be, I think, disrespectful not to. So there are some names that I personally would like to read out loud, as well as some folks we've heard some more news about recently that we can discuss more. But this is the time where we're going to honor some of our fallen siblings and get into it. So sound fun, Jess? Sound good?
It sounds important and like we
Okay, it
should do it.
sounds important. That was a good dodge from that question. I did not give you an easy out with that one. I wanted to see what you would do with that. Just stuck the landing. Okay, so we've got some fallen siblings. I believe one of the more recent ones being at least all over social media, which I don't want to make it the star of the show, but I do want to call it out for being the one that's on most people's minds right now. It would be Juniper Blessing, who is a trans femme, I believe a trans woman. Roommates claiming she her pronouns, not she her they them, like was originally what's the word when journalists do stuff printed. But this one hit me kind of close to home because it's a Washington State University student, and it was a very violent crime. So we're really really feeling the impact of that. I want to pause there before we talk about anyone else. Do we want to talk about this story anymore, or do we want to not focus on a single person and simply make sure we kind of pay respect to everyone that we know has kind of passed this year from violence?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I don't want to. I know this has been probably the biggest story
Yeah.
of this week with in this regard. And yeah, I mean, you mentioned the very violent circumstances that are happening here that happened that happened to Juniper, and I think that is always very scary, and not like the other siblings who've also fallen and left us recently, unfortunately have, some similar stories. But I know that it was called out that, Juniper actually had more of a supportive family. The area that she was in was a more progressive area and, seemed to be surrounding herself with the right people. And then of course that doesn't mean that people are not able to have tragedy still, happen and not able to be, people are still have to be very aware, especially trans women, of these concerns of real security. And I think that like that, I mean, I just know it's been a really scary story and scary in a much different way than like the stuff that we talked about in the last episode. It's also scary, but that's scary from like a much more vague place of like state violence that might potentially be perpetuated by the state at some point. And this is an interpersonal, let's not at all say it's not systemic, but like a more cultural, seemingly. I'm not trying to make assumptions about this, what happened, but it's a very different like level of violence. And just to like hold a moment, and it's like, that's all really intense. And I know this has been a very scary and terrible and very tragic.
Yes.
Stomach for words.